Hello everyone and welcome to Plan A Discovery. I am Joby, your host, and in this video I'm going to be just talking about a game that I've worked on for a little over a year. So it's called Portal Defense, and it's my idea when I first created this game was to create a tower defense game that was more interactive and more complicated than your traditional tower defense game. Because if you look like at a game like Balloons Tower Defense, what the gameplay amounts to is essentially you put the towers down in like a good location, and then you start the wave, and then you just watch the towers, do all the work. So I thought that this was, I liked the idea of tower defense, but I didn't like the idea of just like sitting back and letting the towers shoot and then you just watch like you're like watching a movie or something. So my idea was to create a more gameplay oriented tower defense game where you're actually, stressed out and you have to do things correctly to defend properly. And, so the first idea of how to do this was by adding these things called orbs. So here's the kind of so far I have 4 characters that I have developed. I have the fire character, and these are his towers and his orbs, and each iteration you can upgrade the tower. And then you have the light or plasma character, and then you have the ice blue character, and you have the plant poison character. So in this video I'm going to be showing off what I have so far of the game, and then I'm going to discuss my idea for the future of the game, and finally I'm going to allow and encourage game developers to apply and give me their own ideas, because essentially the game is at a state where finishing it is too ambitious of a project for one person to complete. So if I want to actually finish this game, I'm going to need more game developers who can work with me, and ideally those would be creative game developers who have ideas of their own. And I'm definitely open to hearing new ideas, because the game is kind of in a state where we could take it anywhere. So yeah, I'll show you that right now. So here is the game in Unity. So if you want to apply, you would need some experience in Unity. So okay, so yeah, so this is the character. You can walk around, and you could kind of say he's similar to a League of Legends character, where here's the ability: you place down the orb, and then you can also detonate the orb. And if the monsters walk over the orb will apply some sort of effect to the monster, and also it will lose some of its HP, and then that will also cause the orb to self-destruct. So there's these checkpoints. You might be looking at all this stuff. So basically the monsters in this tower defense game will spawn in this green portal, and they will make their way across all the checkpoints and eventually to the finish line. And your job as the player is to create your own maze for the monsters, and you want them to take obviously as long time possible to get to the end, so that you have as much time as possible to eliminate them before they get there. So here I'll show you an example of like a possible maze that one could create if they were a player. Okay, so okay, no, this is wrong. This is wrong. I need to do some selling here. Okay, I mean, I guess it's decent. So essentially now, I only had 15 platforms. So essentially now, they will walk from the green portal, attempt to go to number 1, and then they will hit this teleporter, and then be teleported here. So that will make it a little bit longer. And then they'll walk to number 1, and then they will walk to number 2, and then 3, and then out. So I mean, I guess it could be better, but Actually, I'll make it better actually. This here, and put this here. So, this is kind of an example of like how the player might use the platforms to advantage. So now I've made this thing longer. So I'll give an example of what defending would look like. So I'll start the wave. So now these little worms are coming, and I can place the orbs, and they have special abilities. So that one just froze the monsters, and I just self-destructed them to deal the area damage. Then I'll place another orb to freeze them, and then place this orb to deal the damage. And, I'll self-destruct these orbs now. And I'll place this orb here. Boom. Boom. Nice. So that was an example of, clearing a wave, and now I just got more platforms, and I got 15 gold income, and right now I have 0 sapphire income. So yeah, so this is the current system of defense. You kind of place your platforms in a maze, and you put the orbs down, and this is how you defend your territory. And then every wave you get more platforms, so then now I can make my maze even better and make the pathway for the monsters even longer. Okay, so now I want to talk about the resources. So here I am, but I can also teleport to the cave. So the idea with this is the more efficiently you defend your territory, the more additional resources you will have. Ideally you would use those resources to invest in the future. So this is how you do it. You essentially find these rocks in this cave that you explore, and I just turned this sapphire rock into a sapphire mine. So now this mine gives me 2 income. So I'm gonna cheat a little bit to give myself unlimited money. So now I can upgrade this mine, and as you can see, I now have 12 sapphire income. So at the end of every round, I will gain 12 sapphire income. And so I can use this extra sapphire income to purchase towers, but also ideally there's going to be some money sinks, which I'll talk about later. But yeah, I'm just going to show off the cave here. So these are some pretty cool graphics. I created this cave and all these like resource things. Oh dear. All right, and then there's also items that you can pick up. Let's explode this barrier. So now I have 2 ruby income, and I just picked up an item. Wow, ruby artifact. This is an example of one of the things that are unfinished. Oh dear. So there's a couple bugs here and there, but you can kind of, so you can spend your extra money to explore this cave, and then spend even more money on opening these rocks and like picking up their contents. So now I just got a different artifact, and it's pretty cool. So yeah, this is kind of where Portal Defense is right now. I could show you more waves, but it's kind of just the same thing. So what I'd rather do is talk about my ideas for the future of the game, and just to get like a general sense of where I see this going, because there's this game is very unfinished. It might look kind of cool, but I think there's a lot of room for improvement. So I'm going to be talking about what I will do to improve it. So the first idea is this character. Right now he has the ability to put down orbs, and that's pretty cool. You put the orb in the place that has the most densely packed monsters, or whatever that specific orb does. You would want to tailor like your actions to like the ability of that orb. But their orbs does not need to be the only ability of the character. So there could potentially be like different characters with like a wide range of abilities, and this character has like his own 3 towers, but maybe he could have other things like that he puts on the ground, or like that aren't even towers or orbs, other things that you would put in the inventory. These characters can be like completely unique, and like you can be completely creative in how you design one of these characters. I mean, it's basically just like it has some abilities, but these characters can be completely unique. So that's the first thing. The second thing that is most important is the actual defense aspect. So what I've come to realize is that just these, monsters walking in a straight line, and like basically the monster has a completely predictable behavior, which is stale, which will get stale and boring. And like, okay, the monsters, follow this path, right? It's kind of cool, but it could be much, much better. So my idea is to have a system that makes the behavior of the monsters more unpredictable, and so essentially I want the monsters to have a completely transformed kind of AI that makes them have a different behavior, because this is predictable behavior. They just walk to the checkpoint, and then they walk to the next checkpoint, and then they walk to the next one, and then they end. So basically, here's my idea. So one, the monsters could do a variety of different things. Like they could attack the platforms, they could attack the towers. There could be completely new objectives. So like right now, the only objective for the monster is to walk on the checkpoints and then walk to the end. But there could be other resource. There could be like the player's resource storage, and those are also objectives. And then the monsters could like steal the player's resource storage. They could attack the player. They could do a variety of different things, and the overall goal of the monster behavior would be obviously to make the gameplay experience better and more sophisticated, but also to make a kind of like stress scenario where there's like the player has to play it perfectly, and the monsters can like outplay the player somehow. Like maybe the monsters can like have their own way to penetrate like the defenses and like find the weakness of the player. So like it would be cool if the monsters had a completely new behavior system where they can actually try make it hard on the player, and a action reaction type of deal where the player has to like dodge, or the player has to do this, the player has to do that. The player actually has to like play it correctly and well to defend. That's something that I'm looking for, and I don't really know how to do that yet. So that's one of the examples of something. If you were a creative game developer looking to help with this project, that's what you should be thinking about. Like, what is the actual defense of the player, and how can we make it better and more interactive for the player? Okay, so that's that. And the second thing is not only the defense system, but the offense system. So what I haven't mentioned yet is that I plan to make this game multiplayer. So you could kind of look at it like TFT, Teamfight Tactics. You can look it up. It's a game made by Riot Games, but it's kind of like it's a strategy game, but it's also interactive with the enemy player. So like, for example, let's say this is a multiplayer game. Now there's here you are, but maybe there's like an enemy right here, and you as a player can interact with the enemy in multiple ways. So the first way is by sending monsters like to their wave. So for example, like one strategy you could use to defeat the other player is to save up your resources and then use them to buy monsters that you send to their portal. And then, you could be like, oh, I know that wave 12 is going to be really hard, so I'm going to save up my money and make it even harder. And, so that's one thing. Not only is it a money sink, but it's also, a way to interact with the enemy player. But there could be a variety of different ways to interact with them. You could like spy on them to like figure out, weaknesses in their defenses. And for example, let's say, instead of one portal, there's portals everywhere. And you're like, oh, this guy's defenses are weak in like the top right corner. So I'll send all my monsters to that portal. And, that's going to be the way that I like punish that player for like doing something wrong or whatever. So that's one idea. Another idea is like your character could literally like invade their base. So like let's say you were doing so well and you were so rich that your towers alone could defend your base, or like whatever you already had on your area would defend their base. Defend your base. Then you could like, okay, now that I'm completely fine, I'm gonna take my character and attack their character, and then maybe your characters can like attack each other, and then you can like use your excess in resources to push your advantage and win the game faster. So that's another idea. So basically the main two things that need to be worked on are the offense and the defense system that need to be like basically like you want it, if it's a multiplayer game, it needs to be very competitive. My idea in the future is to make this like a competitive game. So yeah, those are the things that you need to think about, and that I'm thinking about, and that obviously I can't as one person turn this into a game that I would consider that's good enough to release. Yeah. Oh, and then the final thing that needs to be done is the item system. So right now, like I have no idea what these items do, and not only the item system, but like the cave system. Like if it's multiplayer, perhaps the cave system like could be like somehow like multiplayer, right? So like maybe you would compete essentially for these resources, and then after every wave you kind of have a time to explore the cave. So like maybe you're exploring the cave and you run into an enemy player and now you have to like fight or something, I don't know. So yeah, there's the cave system, and then there's also like there's also the idea of items. So currently I have no like a real idea of like what these items should do. Like perhaps maybe the items you can put on your character to give your character some sort of, okay, it looks like it's a little glitchy, but maybe like these 3 slots would be like for your character. So like maybe you can use items. Maybe you can find these artifacts and like combine them or something. Maybe you can put the items on your tower and give your tower some sort of buff. Maybe the item is, if you kind of see this was like this tower has its own area where like if you put the orb here, this would like give this square specifically like some sort of power up. But maybe there could be an item where you just put that item on the ground, and then that item makes that like square enchanted, and then you can like path around, like you can make your maze path around that square. So these are examples of like ideas of like what the future of this game could be. And I think this is like, while the game is like very, it has like a lot of elements to it already, I do kind of see it as like an open canvas where like anything can really be implemented. So yeah, I'm open to new ideas. So this is where I'll talk about applying. So I guess I'll just delete this stuff. So yeah, here's the email. If you are interested in working on this game with me, that would be cool. So just email me, some ideas. Ideally, like you would be, I don't want to just, tell you what to do. I would want to I want other people to have some sort of creative say in like the finished product of this game, because, as I've said, this is simply not a project for one person. um, it's just simply not possible for me to finish this on my own. There's going to need to be, all sorts of things like new graphics, etc., etc. So, yeah, if you're a game developer, ideally you would have at least like a year of Unity experience, and then send your ideas to me of what you maybe like what you like about the game, like what you think the future of the game could be. I kind of see it as like a combination of League of Legends and TFT, where you have this character, but you're also kind of defending and attacking at the same time, and it's like strategic. There's kind of an investment aspect of it, of like, you could kind of see it as an investment game where you're using these resources to get ahead. So like there's multiple avenues of victory. You can try to like save up for one wave and then use all your efforts on that wave, or you can go for the long game. You can just say like, oh, I'm going to spend all my money on resources, and I'm just going to get so rich that eventually I have so much more money than like the opponent that I just win because I have more money. So like that's another possible way to win the game. So yeah, this is Portal Defense. I think it's a pretty cool game. I think it has like a lot of potential, but yeah, as I've said many times, I just need more people to help me. So yeah, if perhaps I get like 10 or more applicants, we can go to like stage 2 and start finishing this, and yeah. Okay, thanks for watching. Subscribe, do all that, and yeah, bye.